Hello my friends, today we are going to give you an update on the potting building. We are making fantastic progress, and you know me, if there is a new available soil open, I am going to make a garden. So I am already planning a couple of gardens here at the potting building because why not? Right? Let's always add more plants. It is going to be so fun. So we are in the planning stages for that project that we will plant this fall. More details about that in just a minute. But of course, y'all have been with us this entire time as we have been building our new potting building. This is of course going to house the brand new potting machine that for those of you in the industry, this will be a machine from Agronomics, and it is set to ship at the end of this week. You can see that the guys have made amazing progress on the building. The roof is completely on. That is, of course, a nice metal roof. It is the same color that matches the annex. And so we are, quote, dried in as far as the roof. They are finishing up some of the framing today. They just have this last bay to go here on the far right, and then they have the two openings for the large garage doors. So let's just kind of walk through to give you that update on how everything is going. So we have, of course, all the concrete. So now we have concrete sidewalks that go to all of the buildings. You will notice that the excavator is parked strategically right here, along with some orange cones. That is because, as you remember, we had to put, of course, all the utility lines in, and they are running where you can see where we have the conduit right there, the gray pipe that is sticking up. So all of those lines are running from there all the way over into the current mud pit. We got some really good rain yesterday, came through some of that big storms. Everything's fine. We just got rain, praise the Lord, and nothing else. And so after they filled in the trenches, Jerry came back through with some fresh gravel. This is crush and run, and it takes a good rain for this to get nice and compact. So to keep anybody from driving over this area and making massive ruts, he parked the excavator there with the cones. And so that is why those are there. Once this gravel hardens up, we will be good to go. So that's the deal with that. So then over here, like I said, they have got this one last bay that they are going to frame in. This one's going to take a little bit longer because it has, as I call it, a human door in it. So we're going to have two just, normal doors, and so there's going to be one in here. So it takes a little bit longer to frame as compared to the next bay where they just had to put up the whatever those size are. Now you will see that we have some nice framed out areas for windows because I do not want this place to feel like a dungeon. We want it to keep light and airy. So we will have 3 windows on the front, and then as we come through, this will be a large, like a garage style door. So they will frame this out in just a minute once they finish the human door side. So this will be a garage door. That way we can bring any kind of equipment in here that we need to. Underneath the shade, it is just glorious. They have got a whole system set up for all of the framing. Josh went ahead and made a kind of impromptu table to cut all of the boards with. You will see on the back side we have another human door. So basically I think they're going to be like pretty much right across from each other. So getting that framed out, and then as we make our way around, you will notice that there's a cutie patootie little hole right here. The cutie patootie hole is for the conveyor belt to come through, because the hopper is going to be right outside here. So that will have the soil hopper will sit on the pad that is here. So You can see there's an extra piece of roofing there, so that's what the roofing looks like. But the hopper will be on this pad, and then we will have the conveyor belt that brings in the soil through this opening. So that's what that opening is. And then as we come down, we have 2 more windows. So we're going to have 3 on the front, 2 on the back, and then another garage door here, because this is where, once the plants have been potted, they will then go on the racks, and out the door they go and down the sidewalk into probably mainly, you know, the big house, but they can go to any of the other houses. Great thing about having a nice enclosed area is that we've got all of our supplies in here, and even with the rain yesterday, nothing got wet. So it is great on that end. So obviously here are our doors, just very simple doors. We can paint it, of course, whatever color we want. So we've got the 2 human doors right there. And then we have got the windows here as well. These are going to be the same windows that are in the annex. So they're going to be hung like this, right? And then, so they slide side to side. They won't be an up and down horizontal, they'll be vertical windows. So that way we can have lots of light past screens so they can get some air through here, because y'all, this, I guess because how it's perched on top of, we're on a little bit of a hill right here, there is the most glorious breeze that comes through here. So that is fantastic. I love it for the guys working in here because they're in the shade. There's a great breeze. End of July in North Carolina, and it is hot. So that is the deal with this. Now this will be a climatized building, so we will have heating and air in here, run it as we need to, but also because it is up on this little bit of a hill, this little knoll, we can open everything up and just let it breathe, right? And so that is fantastic on that. The next step is that once they get all of the framing done, then they have the sheeting, the plywood sheeting. So that, of course, will go on the outside. So they will begin to seal it all up. And there we go on that. As far as the siding goes, we're going to use the same siding here that we used on the annex, which is the hardy plank siding. That is like a cement product. It's what we actually have on our house. It is fantastic because it doesn't rot, and then it looks like wood, and you can paint it any color you want. So we will paint it the same as the annex. That way everything ties in together. But just to kind of give you an idea, that is what the annex side looks like. But yeah, it has that wood grain pattern to it. It is that cement product, easy to use. You just cut it like wood, hang it up, boom, there you go. You don't have to prime it because it comes primed, and you just paint it whatever color you want. Easy peasy. So this kind of garage style door will be what we will use also for the potting building. So that is the update on the potting building, making a lot of progress. Of course, when the potting machine arrives, we will bring you along for the entire journey, because the folks at Agronomics have been fantastic as far as communication, and we know exactly what to expect. So our job is, once it gets here, to get it put together, because there are going to be a lot of different pieces, put it all together. I think we have to have like the electrical, the water and the air lines all hooked up, but don't turn it on. We cannot turn it on. And then somebody from Agronomics will actually come here on site, set it all up, program everything, and that way we will be off and running. So there you go on the update of the building. Now let's talk about what I'm super excited about: new garden space. Because, you know, there are just too many fantastic plants in this world not to add more gardens. And there's a running joke around here. We're like, you know, this year we're just going to maintain the gardens that we have. We're not going to add any more. And then life happens and space becomes available and new plants come onto the market, or you see these new plants and you're like, well, one more garden just won't hurt. So what we're going to do is here on the to the left of the building, we have this beautiful open space of red clay right now, and in a weird kind of way, it is like a triangle shape. Not a perfect triangle, but pretty darn close, my friends. And so we are going to plant this with shrubs, maybe a tree or two, and then some perennials, and maybe a couple of annuals in there. So Jerry kind of walked this off the wall from the tip of the wall right here, basically up to where the concrete begins. That is 30 feet. So I already know that in this space, I want to do a hedge of barberries. Of course, we were just at Spring Meadow Nursery, home to the Premier Color Choice Shrubs, touring their display slash trial gardens, and they have barberry hedges in several different places, and they're beautiful. I love barberries. Yes, they have thorn. Oh well, so do roses. And so they're not invasive for us. They are sterile, so that's great. So we are going to do a hedge of the Sunjoy Toto barberry all the way up. So Toto is a beautiful, really like dark maroon, deep purple. It's like a 2x2. It will be the perfect size. So it's not going to be super tall, but it will give us some really beautiful dark foliage for 3 seasons out of the year. Winter, I'm fine. It's not a problem. But we're going to run it, the Toto hedge, all the way up behind the wall. So it will go all the way up. Then I'm thinking, my thought process, at least for right now, is that on the sidewalk side, I'm going to do lemon coral sedum, right? So nice and low growing. If somebody steps on it, it's not the end of the world. Bright chartreuse is an annual, but for us here in the North Carolina, it can easily be a perennial. So we're going to do lemon coral sedum as far as I know from here all the way up. Now, this little section, this one little tidbit of a corner right here, obviously you can see we have got like the French drain drops out right here. We've got another pipe, we've got a catch basin. So this is still is a little bit under construction. So this will be fixed. We'll have that catch basin in here. So basically from the end of the wall all the way down, that's going to be gravel. So we're not going to plant in this area. That'll be gravel, no problem. So the bed basically will start at the edge of the wall, kind of where this line in the concrete is, up through there. So I have been having the most fun planning and dreaming, looking at the plants that we have in excess of down on the shrub lot, and plants that I have had in my stash. So what the plan is right now, you know how I am, it'll change, but I am thinking that I have got some new, it's brand new, it's the Featherman Vitex, so that chase tree, nice and kind of petite. So I've got 2 of those that can go in here. I have got the new Pugster Sorbet butterfly bush that can go in here. I've got some of the new perennials, some of the brand new hibiscus that will be introduced next year. They can go in here. So I am just really thinking of shrubs and perennials to have that 4 seasons of interest. Of course, lots of color during the summer. It is going to be a really fun space to kind of play with and to showcase these new introductions. So that is kind of the idea for there. Now, as far as how are we going to prepare this site? Well, one, we got to get the drainage issue fixed right here. So we got to connect all of the pipes, get everything connected, put the gravel in right here, because there is a bit of a slope. So we need to really kind of take care of that. We had that big rain last night, and if you know anything about red clay and water, you gotta let it dry out. So once this dries out a bit, Jerry can bring in the small bobcat, the little skid steer, the one that he can, just stands on and rides, and he can smooth this out. This was some fill dirt that we had. So obviously we're gonna come in here and kind of clean it up, right? So if there's any kind of big rocks, the leftover concrete, there's some wood in here, get all of that out, get it smoothed out, and then we will come back before we plant and we will top dress it with a compost product. I am thinking it will most likely be like the Black Gold, that ultra outdoor planting mix, which is great compost, pine bark fines. It will help amend the soil. It'll do great. So we'll top dress the whole thing, then we'll put the plants in, and as we are drilling the holes for the plants, then that ultra outdoor gets mixed in there. And then of course we will come back and mulch the whole thing. So the timeline on that is probably, I'm thinking sometime in September, right? August in North Carolina, it can be a tough one. This will not be on irrigation, so we will have, if it needs to be watered, we will hand water it. But once these plants get established, they're not gonna have to get hand watered unless we go into a crazy drought. But thank goodness we have a big, huge greenhouse right here that has plenty of hoses and water, so we can easily come here and water the shrubs and the plants if needed. Also, waiting till September. Our falls historically can be kind of wet. Our winters are wet. Getting them in before, like after the heat hits, but before the cold of North Carolina hits will be perfect. That way those roots can get established. So that's the plan on there. That's all I was thinking, right? I was thinking that's what we're gonna do. And then, if you know my husband, we were down at the shrub lot and we have some new gen Independence boxwoods. And he was like, hey, we could take these boxwoods and we could plant them on the other side and make a hedge. I've always wanted to have a boxwood hedge, like a real hedge, and I was like, heck yeah, baby. So what now the plan is because I dream and then he takes that dream and bumps it up a notch. So what we're going to do is, again, starting with this line, because that's where the bed will kind of end. So starting right here, all the way up around the sidewalk, and then probably, if we have enough, we'll even go in front off to the side, on the side of the building up there on the concrete. And we will do the new gen Independence. Of course, we will plant them off a little bit, so that way at maturity, we'll still have just a little bit, I don't know, maybe a 6-inch gap all the way right here. So we'll have that boxwood hedge that can come up here all the way to the building and then go across. We're not going to do the boxwoods on this side because I have so many different plants that I want to add here. I do have some ideas of some things that we're going to do here. It'll be a different hedge. You'll just have to wait and see on that one. So then we can make this side a whole nother bed, right? And thinking of maybe things that are a little bit taller, because on the, right now, the front side of the bed, this bed, I don't want it to get anything like too crazy tall. The max would be a shrub that goes somewhere between 3 to 5 feet, 3 to 4 feet, not crazy tall, because I don't want to block what's over here. Now over here, this is where we can add some height. I have got a beautiful hinoki from Proven Winners, not a hinoki, ginkgo. There we go. I have got a beautiful ginkgo from Proven Winners that I have been holding on to because I didn't know where to plant it. This would be a great spot for it. So we have got some different ideas that we will go into here. So basically, it will kind of extend here and be like a little bit of a circle all the way down. Because once we can get out of the mud, everything back here where the cars are, that is all gravel. The bed will come a nice circle around here and kind of connect back into the sidewalk. But everything else, the drive paths, all the way will be gravel. So all of this is going to be gravel because we use this so much as driving. So all the equipment comes on here. So whether it's a car, a truck, our little side-by-sides, the excavator, the cat, the little bobcat, all of those things can come through here. And two, it will greatly help with the wash because obviously everything flows towards the creek, so we want to slow the water down and kind of control that. and just stay out of the mud. If you have red clay soil, you know that, dear heavens, it is great to plant in once you figure it out, but trying to keep things clean and neat and tidy is a disaster, because that stuff is just thick and goopy, and it stains and it sticks to everything. So we're gonna figure all of that out and get that all taken care of. And then, of course, this is the pad for the hopper right here. And then we've talked about this numerous times. So like all of this will be gravel, right? So gravel here, catching the water, rerouting it, probably catch basins in here. But we've talked about it a couple of times that over here on the side, how we're going to put a roof line up here, and then this pad that we have here will be covered, and this will be the area that we can do picnic tables, that kind of thing. So on these days like this, when we want to eat, or we just want to sit and talk, or we just want to take a break, we can go there. It'll be under the cover and have that nice space to work and sit and rest for a little bit. So there is so much going on, so many fun things. This is the time of year where I feel like I'm cheating on this year's garden, because I'm already dreaming of next year. But you know what? That is the fun of gardening, right? There's always new plants that come out on the market. There's all these fun new things. So yeah, let's make plans. While we're in the throes of one summer, we know our messes, we know our successes. What are we going to repeat? What are we going to do different? This is the fun part where the dreaming begins for next year's gardens. So we will keep you updated, of course, on all of the shenanigans up here at the new potting building. Our guys have done a fantastic job, have worked so hard, so proud of them. And yeah, so the growth here at Creekside continues, whether it is on the production side or the gardens. Creekside is always growing, and we're so appreciative of you coming along for the ride. Of course, so much fun. We'll keep you updated. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.